Problem 15. The graph of linear function f and g are shown on the grid. Which function best represents by the graph of g? Okay, so let's see. I look at my answer choices. All my answer choices, I here have f of x. Okay, but be careful, because this f of x, the one that is shown here in this graph, it is not my prime function. It's not my prime function. It's whatever graph they decided to find and say that it was f. But I see a relationship between f and g. They look parallel. So if they look parallel, they must have the same slope. So if they have the same slope, the slope was not modified, and the only way the slope gets modified is if we multiply the function. So I'm gonna look at my answer choices, and whatever is a multiplication, I'm just gonna cross it out because I know those are not answers. So B is not a possible answer, and G and D is not a possible answer. So between A and C, which one is a possible answer? I'm gonna look at my graph F, and how do I move from F to G? The only way that I can move to F to G is to shift the graph down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units down. So that means I subtracted 5 from the graph of F to create G. That answer is this one. This one has the negative as subtracting 5 to the graph of F to create G, and discards C. Problem 16. A student graphed f of x equals x and g of x equals 1/3 f of x on the same coordinate grid. Which statement describes how the graph of f and g are related? I want you to look at f of x equals x. In this case, this happens to be the parent function. Okay. While for g of x, is taking the parent function, this part, and it's modifying the parent function by multiplying times 1/3. Okay. It's not shifting it up or down because it's not adding or subtracting anything. So I'm going to start reading the problems. I know that because it's multiplying times a fraction, the slope of g of x is going to be less steep. I'm going to say less steep. And f of x is going to be the steeper one. Okay, so answer choice F. The graph of f is shifted. No, we already talked about that. It's not shifted. G, the graph of f is steeper than the graph of g. So far, so good. Let's read the next one. The graph of f is shifted. No, it's not shifted. And J, the graph of f is less steep. No, the one that is less steep is going to be G. So the correct answer, you know what, is G right here. The graph of f is steeper than the graph of G. Okay, so problem 17 says, which equation in standard form has a graph that passes through the point -6, 5 and has a slope of 7/3? I'm going to I'm going to do 2 parts for this problem. I'm going to start with y equals mx plus b. And because I don't have a b, I'm going to calculate the b for my problem. So I'm going to start with y. Start here at y equals mx plus b. I do not have a b. I do have a point. That point, my 5 is 5. My slope is 7/3. My x is -6. And I'm getting that from the problem. Okay, and I do not have b. When I calculate this, and I multiply the 7/3 times -6, that is going to give me -14. Okay, and 5 equals negative 14 plus b. I'm going to add 14 and I add 14, and happens that b equals 19. 19 over here. Make sure that I get that 19. 19. Okay, so I want to do my second part of the problem. And my second part of this problem, I'm gonna do it right here. And I want to get all these equations. And I know that my problem is gonna be y equals 7 over 3x plus 19. I'm gonna start working all the problems and all the equations, and I want to solve all of them for y. And I'm gonna do it the same way. Okay, so I'm gonna write the first one, 7x minus 3y equals negative 57. No, yeah, negative 57. Okay, so what do I want to do first? I want to subtract 7x, and I'm gonna subtract 7x. That goes away, and now I have negative 3y equals negative 7x minus 57. I am going to divide by negative 3, and I divide by negative 3 and divide by negative 3, and I have y equals 7 over 3, and negative 57 divided by negative 3 is going to be positive 9. Whoops, look at that. Actually, 15, positive 19. Sorry, that's what I'm supposed to be saying. Positive 19. And if I look at that, that b 19 happens to be the same b, and the slope that I'm looking for happens to be the same slope that the problem gave me. So I was lucky enough to find that A was the correct answer to begin with. If that would have not been the case, I will have to continue doing all these parts as many times as required until I find the one that will give me the same b and the same. Problem 18. What is the equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the points negative 6, 49 and 3, negative 15? So I have 2 points. The first thing I need to do, I need to find a slope. So to find the slope, I'm going to start with my slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm going to open the parentheses. x2, no, actually y2, negative 15. y1, 49. x2 is going to be 3, and x1, negative 6. When I put that into the calculator, my slope is going to be negative 64 over 9. So that slope, negative 64 over 9, I see it on answer choice F, answer choice H, and answer choice J, H, J, and F. So what do I need to do now? I need to plug one of those numbers, one of those coordinates into y equals mx plus b to calculate the b. Okay, so I'm going to start with y equals mx plus b. My slope, we said that it's going to be 64 over 9, and it's going to be negative. And I'm going to input any number that I want for x, any number that I want for y, plus b. And I'm going to put, I'm going to select an easy point here. So for x, I'm going to go with negative 6, and the y is going to be 49. I'm getting those points, the 6 and the 49. I'm getting it from this one over here. So I'm going to calculate my b. And when I'm done calculating the b, B equals 19 over 3. So that being said, the only answer choice that has a B of 19 over 3 is answer choice F, and that is the only one that has a y-intercept of 19 over 3 and a slope of negative 64 over 9. The PE storage closet has bags of tennis balls. Each bag contains 12 tennis balls. The coach takes 8 tennis balls for practice. Which function shows the relationship between y, the total number of tennis balls, and the remaining in the closet, and x, the number of bags of tennis balls? So let's see. Let's understand a couple of things here. Y is the total number of tennis balls. This is the total number of tennis balls. Okay, which is whatever is in the closet. And then it says that x is gonna be the number of bags. So here is the number of bags. Nobody has told me how many bags there is in the closet, so I have no idea. Okay, and then I know that the coach took 8 tennis balls in total. So he didn't took 8 bags. He only took 8 tennis balls. Okay, I know that y is tennis balls. So that means this is balls. Okay, these are bags. The B are bags. Okay, so when I take the number of bags and I multiply times how many tennis balls each bag can hold, it's gonna give me, total amount of tennis balls. So the first answer choice here, I don't know how many bags I have. I multiplied that times 12. It's gonna give me total amount of tennis balls. But that total amount of tennis balls, I'm going to subtract the 8 tennis balls that the coach took, and that is going to be my answer choice. See, answer choice B doesn't take into consideration the amount of tennis balls the coach took. For C and D, both of them are wrong, because it's saying, well, if X is the number of bags and how many tennis balls each bag, it's saying that 8 tennis balls would be on the bag. So that is why C and D cannot be answers, because it's saying that the bag can hold 8 tennis balls. So A is the only answer choice, but it's stating that 12 is in each bag and 8 tennis balls were taken away. So problem number 20, the table represents some points on the graph of a linear function. Which function represents the same relationship? I'm just gonna point something out here. I want you to look at the slopes. Okay, so all the slopes for all of these different equations are different. I notice that the slope here is going to be -4. The slope here is going to be -1. The other slope is going to be 4. And then the last slope is going to be 1. So now that I know that all 4 answer choices have different slopes, I'm pretty sure that if I just use the equation to find slope, I'm going to get a slope of either -4, or -1, or 4, or 1. So I'm just going to put in some numbers here. I'm going to take a y2. I'm going to take a y1. I'm going to take an x2. And I'm going to take an x1. I'm going to put those numbers in. So -6, -10, -4.5, and -8.5. If I put all this into the calculator, the calculator is going to give me a simplified version of the slope. And that simplified version of the slope is going to be 1. So if my slope happens to be 1, which equation has a 1 as the slope? Right here. This is the only equation that the slope is 1. And that is my correct answer right there, J.